Welcome to the Lulu Loves Crochet Podcast, episode 48. My name is Emma and this is my podcast all about crochet, crafts, books and anything else I feel like talking about really. I hope you're all well. I apologise if this clip is a bit disjointed. I've had to refilm the introduction, my microphone's playing up. So I've just gone down to edit the video and there's no sound at all. So I'm back up to refilm the introduction, but I just wanted to say thank you for watching and thank you for all the lovely comments on the last podcast and even on the vlogs that I've popped up. You know, I always love reading them and I love having a chat to you, and I always appreciate the time you take to leave them, so thank you. And also a very big thank you to the people who have pressed the super thanks. I really do appreciate it, and it's always such a surprise when anyone does that, so thank you. So I will get on. stop waffling. Like I said in the vlog, I didn't get a lot of time to make throughout January, and we're only in the beginning of February, aren't we? So I haven't got a lot of finished items, but I did manage to finish the 2 items that I had started in the previous podcast, so I will share those with you now. So the first one I am very pleased to share with you is my knitted Miss Marple scarf. I was following a YouTube tutorial for this one. Go. It's beautiful. I love it so much. I'm really pleased with the way that it came out, and I'm just very proud to have finished a knitted item, if I'm honest. It's not perfect. There are mistakes everywhere. I spoke a lot about the sort of making process in, I think it was that December vlog. So and you can see that one side, okay, I feel like one side is much neater than the others. Obviously, I started over here and finished over here. And this side also seems to have a slightly more of a point, but I feel like that may be because I've started with 4 stitches, but when I finished, she decreased down to 2. I'm going to have to go back and check the video and make sure I did that right. Anyway, I'll show you it on. Let's have a look. I love it. I'm definitely going to be making another one. So it just slips through like this. Oh my gosh, look at that. That's just great. It's just the right width. It's not too bulky, like, you know, when you're out walking the dogs, if you've got dogs, or if you're out walking and you don't want anything, because I just get hot after 5 minutes. So this is perfect. I can put on my jacket and put this on. My neck stays fairly warm, but it's not like bulking me out. It's just keeping those drafts out really, and then, you know, I can close my coat, open my cloak, it's not wafting about. I absolutely love it. I'm obviously such a granny these days that that really appeals to me, and I think it looks so pretty as well. Like, what do we think? Ta-da! Maybe I'll just keep it on for the rest of the video. Yeah, I'm so pleased. I'm definitely going to make another one. I did buy the that Rico Fashion Modern Tweed, which I think is probably more my colours. This one has got that lovely sort of variegated yarn. I really love the colours there. Oh, I've got what a surprise. I've got an end to sew in. I really love the colours. I mean, they're not colours that I would normally wear, but the yarn feels nice. It was that King Cole Acorn Aran, 80% premium acrylic, 20% wool. It is getting a bit like where I've been sort of, I suppose, working it. It's getting a bit fluffed up, but it still looks lovely. And like I said, it's very warm to wear, so I'm really impressed that I managed to separate. Look at that. I've never used DPNs before, so I did that fairly successfully, I'd say. So anyway, and I still have quite a bit of wool left actually. So was that 100 grams? Yeah, that was 100 grams. I think I've probably used, well, definitely over half of it, maybe 3/4, I don't know, but yeah. really good. So I'm really pleased with that. I'll definitely make another one. I would just like to get confident at knitting something, and I feel like that was a really good project for me because I could practice some simple increases, simple decreases. I could practice, like I said, splitting over the 3 needles. So lots of little things to practice for a small project. I really liked that. So I definitely won't mind making another one, especially as now I know that I will definitely wear that scarf. So, and then the other like scarf project was the crochet one. I was kind of trying to do a comparison. It kind of failed at the first hurdle because it was obviously designed for a smaller weight yarn. It was from this book that my neighbour had bought me from their travels to Hong Kong. I felt bad because lots of people asked over on Instagram about the pattern, and obviously I can't give that pattern that's in a published book, but if you did want to do something similar, I will say that if you put crochet pineapple scarf into Pinterest, lots of charts do come up. There we go. So I was working up a crochet version of that scarf. Now, they're completely different, obviously. I finished it. I haven't sewn the ends in yet. I gave it a very light blocking, but then what I've done is I've popped it back in that bag and it's creased itself up again. So this is it. It's a very delicate little thing. I worked it in 4-ply fingering weight yarn. It's very beautiful. It's said to work it up to about, I think, 80 odd centimetres, which I've done. I still, however, think now it's a bit long. So I'll put this one on for you. So here we have it finished. It's got the 2 sort of points. Can we see that? There we go. It's very pretty, but it's totally a different type of scarf. So for it to sort of give me any warmth, I need to sort of separate it up here. You just pop it through one of the, and can you see how mine hangs? Like hers was sort of all laid out lovely. Mine just sort of scrunches into this kind of necktie thing. That's not the end of the world. Let's get it up a bit tighter. Yeah, so I'm having a job getting that look to look nice. And actually when it's up here, it's giving very obviously minimal warmth, which I guess maybe it would have been better if I'd have worked it up in a DK weight yarn and like a 3.5mm hook or something like that. That would have given it a bit more structure. Because this is the fingering weight yarn with the, this might have been a 3mm or 2.5. Anyway, I can't really get it to play very nicely when I'm wearing it. I think it's the sort of scarf that you would wear if you just like something around your neck. Like, it's probably not going to keep you warm. It's very beautiful. You could kind of style it, I suppose, to make it a bit more. So yes, it doesn't seem to really make a difference how I pop this on. I don't think it's one that I will probably reach for. It is very, very pretty though. Let's have a look. Look at that up close. Yeah, it's lovely. So anyway, I am pleased that it was finished, and I'll definitely be able to do something with it, even if I just use it for you know, photography, because it's just so pretty. And that is it for finished objects. I have started a new little project. Last weekend I was really inspired by, I've been listening to that podcast. I can't remember what it's called. Let me have a quick look on my phone now. Yes, it's called As the Season Turns by Fun. It's the podcast that goes along with those very pretty almanacs that get produced every year. I stopped buying those really because I found that as beautiful as they were, I really wasn't reaching for them, and I just didn't have time to really engage with them. So I felt like it was a bit of a waste of money for me. But I do really enjoy the podcast. It's narrated by the author. and it goes up at the first of every month. You can listen to it. I listen to it on Spotify, but you can listen to it wherever you listen to your podcasts. And it's just lovely, really gentle introduction to the month. So I really look forward to listening to it actually when I'm on my dog walk. And February the 1st went up, and they do lots of different, so she talks about what you might expect to see in the coming month nature wise, but then they'll have some like folklore, some music, some sounds. It's just a really lovely podcast. I definitely recommend listening to it. But anyway, I listened to February's on my dog walk, and of course she was talking about the snowdrops, so they were on my mind quite a lot. So I thought I would have a play around designing a square. So first of all, I really wanted to play around with the colours and the white sort of drops. So I was working with the popcorn stitch to create this sort of circular square. I mean, very inspired. We're not seeing any snowdrops here, but I really liked the contrast of the green with the, actually I've used cream and then the white. I've been using stonewashed Sheepy's stonewashed extra large, which I had in stash, so I've just been playing around. Anyway, I liked it, but I'm finding you can't, so there are these sort of gappy bits, deliberate gappy bits, and you can't really see them when it's close. I mean, I might as well not have put them in at the top there, and obviously they work here. And then I thought, would I really want a blanket just in these colours? Like, probably not, honestly. I suppose you could make it into a scarf, but then, you know, with the popcorns, you get that one-sided effect. It's not really that great for a scarf. So then I had to play around with the same sort of pattern in my trusted, you know, I'm going to go for a neutral. Well, it's being washed out there. And then maybe just, you know, colour in the background. But again, there's something about it, you know, I felt like maybe I could mix and match. I mean, I'm sure it would look lovely as a finished blanket, but I'm just not sure if it's a blanket I would be in love with. Does that make sense? And even if I were to do something like that, again, I'm not sure. So anyway, it was really lovely and fun to have a play around with some squares. I'm definitely not finished with the idea, but I will, I think, look at another way of, you know, realising that sort of idea really. So yeah, anyway, it's lovely, isn't it? When you get, you know, as a creative person, when you can just sit down and, you know, be able to play with an idea. Like, I suppose it's the same for painters or, you know, people that can draw, or even, you know, patchwork sewing. It's just, you know, a creative way of expressing what's on your mind. So that was really lovely, even though maybe not successful. Yeah, so I haven't finished with the idea with the blanket because I do feel like I'm ready to create another crochet blanket. I'm just not sure what I want it to look like yet, so I'll keep working on that. And then that's it for crochet and knit, really. That's all I had time to do over the past few weeks. But last Sunday I did also have a go at some English paper piecing, which I've been talking about trying for a long time. Again, I spoke about it in the last vlog, I think, where I shared that bundle of fabric that I'd found in the charity shop. That really spurred me on. I got lots of squares for like £2. And there's a lady at work that's been sort of showing me and talking me through it. So I finally had a go. I did invest in a few little pieces. I ordered myself a rotary cutter. I don't have anything like that for cutting the fabric. I thought that would be quick, really. And I don't have a lot of time, and I do want to do these crafts, but I also want to make it as easy for myself as I can. So I ordered from a company down in Cornwall, actually, so I was really pleased, called Sew and Quilt. I ordered some hexagon templates. They came pre-cut in a little bag like this. Okay, and they're just, I think that was 100 1-inch pre-cut hexagon templates on this very sort of fine card. And then it also, the little pack also came with some, you know, little instructions on how to do it, which I thought was quite useful. And then I ordered some, and, you know, I have been watching some videos and it said to use very sharp needles. I ordered some Tulip Milliner's needles. These are straw needles. It said that they were suitable for hand quilting or hand embroidery. They are really sharp, but they're also almost impossible to thread. Is that common thing with quilting, or have I got the wrong type of needles? This just says number 10. Let me know, because I also ordered some hand quilting thread from the same website. I thought it was just a kind of generic, but actually it says 3-ply glazed cotton hand quilting. Well, there we go. I could not get this thread through one of these needles. Like, that just wasn't happening at all. I tried many times. This is way too thick. I don't know if that's maybe cotton for finishing a quilt. It's definitely too thick for these needles. So then I just grabbed some thread that I had, I think just some normal cotton thread that I had in a kit upstairs. So I managed to work it with that, but I still really even struggled threading that through. I might have to get a little needle thread or something like that. Either that or some reading glasses, that might help. And there we go. So there's my first finished English paper piecing square. I've taken the middle one out because it was fully sewn, but I really enjoyed it. Like, that gave me so much pleasure. It's quite hard because my hand stitching is, quite frankly, appalling. But I was talking to the lady at work and I was like, I just don't know. Like, sometimes I would look at certain hexagon and think, oh, you can barely see the stitches, I'm getting better. And the next one, there'd be like 2 or 3 really big stitches. And I said to her, I just don't think I'll ever be able to, like, just get it so neat. And she said they had this saying at their quilt club whereby if you can't see the stitches driving past at 30 miles an hour in a car, they're fine. And I loved that. So, but there we go. So have a look. I'll show you the stitching. You can see if you get up close enough. But also, she has really, you know, made me feel so much better, because she said to me, and it's funny, isn't it? I give this advice all the time with crochet. I say, just start. Just don't worry about it. Just start. You will get better. And she said exactly the same. I'm just going to pause the camera. Yes. She said, you just start. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about your stitches. Don't, you know, just start. If you want to have a go, have a go. And I finally did. And now I think I will just keep, you know, when I get the time, working on little flowers like this, maybe with the idea to one day put them towards some sort of quilt or blanket, which I'd love to do, but I don't think I have the time to dedicate a lot of time through it. So I think I would just like to practice these, you know, and as I pick up little bits of fabric, maybe just make my way through those. But I've seen lots of people turning these into pin cushions and things like that. But let me know if you've got any ideas for easy beginner projects, because I'm not very good at sewing. I mean, I have a sewing machine and I can sew, but I've never been very neat and you know, very confident. But yeah, it's something I definitely would like to get better at. So and I took it into work and showed her, and she said it looks like a forget-me-not. I thought that was really nice. So I have the rest of the pile of that fabric to work through, and I figured I can get, I think there were about 2 sheets of each pattern, and I can get about 3 hexagons out of one, maybe 4 at a stretch. So I can definitely get 1 flower from each print. So that's nice. That will keep me busy for a while. I also have not been doing the tacking method on the back. I have been using, this is the other thing I bought, one of these glue pens. They just have a coloured glue in them, and you just pop it on your cardboard template. I watched a video actually, and it was really helpful. It was like tips I wish I'd known when I started paper piecing. I'll link the video down below. And she just basically said not to put it right up to the edge, you know, and you just do a little line. And actually that, I mean, I did that a week ago and that has stayed just fine. So I like that if you like saving some time. I felt like that would be quicker for me. I mean, it might be quicker for some people who are good at sewing or very quick to just tack those corners. Maybe I'll give that a try as well and see how I get on. So yes, that was it for the making for this month. I think that's everything. Yes, I haven't had any new bits. Well, because I bought the little bits for the English paper piecing, so that was it for this month. I did buy one crochet book, and I also got sent one book, which actually is quite fitting considering I've just been doing some quilting. So I'll share that one first. This one has been sent to me by the publisher. It is Quilt Your Own Adventure, Modern Quilt Blocks and Layouts by Amanda Carye. Oh, sorry, I'm probably not saying that very well. It is due out in March. It says it's a choose your own style quilt book. It features 30 quilt blocks, 7 quilt top layout formulas, and all the maths done for you so you can focus on creating your own design. I'm very new to quilting, as we all know, so that doesn't mean very much to me, but I can already see the benefits in this book. First of all, the photography is amazing. The quilts, the colours, I mean, they're very fresh, and I love that. Like I love a ditzy floral print. That's my style, but also these are very appealing to me. They're just so beautifully fresh and colourful and modern. And there are lots of, lovely examples of that. There we go. Can you see that? That's gorgeous, isn't it? So it looks like there are lots of blocks to choose from. So there's a block index, and then it gives you, so I'll just show you a couple of stuff. It gives you the instructions and the cutting techniques for the blocks and all the measurements. So you can pick your blocks, and then you can pick a layout. It's just very, very detailed. You've got backing and binding requirements, cutting and planning worksheet, yardage planner worksheet, fabric planner worksheet. There are also further resources online. I mean, that's a lot of work that has gone into that. I mean, some of the pages are just full of maths. So if you are into or just getting into, making your own blankets, I mean, it talks about colours, patches, the different sizes. Really, really good. And just so full of information. So it says how to use this book. Familiarise yourself with the 38-inch blocks. Determine your quilt size. Choose a quilt top layout. Decide on the blocks you'll use. Figure out your fabrics. Calculate yardage. Draft your cutting plan. Dive in and sew. But if you end up doing something different, straying from the path, or deciding to explore the sample patterns at the end of the book, that works too. Yeah, I mean, that's my kind of instruction manual there. Here are some guidelines, but do what you want anyway. So I thought I'd share that because that looks really nice. And the book that I bought is the Crochet Crush by Molla Mills. I do have another book from Molla Mills that I really enjoyed. Again, really well known for her modern patterns and her colour work. This one is full of, I would say, accessories, and I would also say it's mostly bags, rugs and blankets. But there are some lovely, lovely patterns. Let's have a look. And the photography is, as always, stunning. There are a couple of patterns in here that immediately, oh, this is nice. This is the, I love some daisies. But there are a couple of patterns that I immediately were drawn to, and I know that the girls will love them as well. Let me have a look. Yeah, lots of colour work. This is the bag that I love. Look at that. That's so much fun, isn't it? I think that one of the girls would love that. And then I saw a bag right at the beginning that I wanted to make. It was just I think a shopping tote. I love that. Really love that. I looked at that straight away, but it uses, I think it must be some of her yarn, because it's the Lena cotton twine, which you can't get very easily in the UK. It's also quite expensive. It says 18 ply, Molla, or the Molla cotton twine 18 ply. I'm going to have to look for an alternative. And then the hook is 2.25. So I'm taking it that's probably quite thin and sturdy. So I'll have a look for something maybe similar. If not, I'll just do it in what I fancy. So yes, I'm looking forward to having a look. It's a really lovely big book. It's beautifully photographed. There are lots of charts. Lovely. So I definitely recommend that one as well. And I think that's it for everything crochet and craft related. I will just talk through some book recommendations and a couple of new books. So if you are just here for the crochet talk, feel free to switch off, and I will see you again in another couple of weeks. Right, so I'm trying to think. Last time I think I was reading The Dictionary of Lost Words by Pip Williams. There we go. I really loved this. I finished this. I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads. I really enjoyed it. I read it over January. It was perfect for me. It's set during the creation. It follows a group of people who are creating the Oxford English Dictionary, the first Oxford English Dictionary. It follows Esme, a girl. She lives with her dad, and they're very sort of middle class. He works there, and she sort of grows up around it, really, and then she sort of goes off to school. So it follows her life, and it follows her whole life, actually, and it's just really lovely. It takes you through the battle for women's rights. So there's talk of the suffragette and the suffragists and her involvement in that. It talks about the differences between the classes, and how actually women just didn't really have a lot of choices, even if they, we know about the plight of the working classes, but even the middle classes, the women had very little choices about their bodies, what they could do. So that's interesting, because her best friend is in service. So you get these, you can afford to have those views, I can't, you get those sorts of opinions. And it's kind of true, isn't it? You have to, pick your battles, and some people have the luxury of fighting those battles, and some people just had to survive. So that's an interesting sort of part of it. But also her personal story is just, it's kind of heartbreaking, but I should imagine that it's so familiar, such a familiar story back then, really, for a woman that wanted to be independent, who was clearly very smart. Yeah, just really good. And I actually even did have a little bit of a tear at the end, which is unusual for me in a book. So I really recommend that. It's beautifully written. If you like historical fiction, women's, with a sort of a women's lead, that's a really nice one. Yeah, I definitely recommend that. And then the other book I finished was The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. I had picked this up before Christmas and put it down and couldn't find it. It sounds terrible, doesn't it? Anyway, I found it and I finished it. this is a really lovely light book. It's about a witch who goes to help 3 young witches control their powers. And in this book, witches aren't allowed to congregate, they're not allowed to be together, so they live very isolated, lonely lives. Yeah, there's a romance in there as well. It's very lovely. I mean, I've heard it compared to Practical Magic a lot. I suppose the plot line is it's got this lovely old building, you know, there's witches, themes of family and being outsiders. I would say, I mean, for me, I love the Practical Magic books. They're very, I like the historical element to them. But, and they're slightly darker as well, I think. And I feel like this is quite a light book, considering she's led a very lonely life. The main character is very light and breezy, and, you know, I'm not sure I could be like that really, after being alone and kind of, yeah, made to feel unloved for all those years. But anyway, it's lovely. It's a light read. I gave it 3 stars. I would compare it more to the kind of, if you remember the Bewitched series, it's got that lightness of when it comes to the magic about it. You know, there's like levitation and I don't know, there's just a kind of lightness about it. So if you like that, you will definitely enjoy that. And then some new books, just a couple this month. I have bought the new Laura Purcell. I pre-ordered it, the signed edition from Waterstones. This one's the Whispering Muse. Laura Purcell wrote the Silent Companions. She writes mostly historical fiction with an element of supernatural, again a bit dark, so kind of a bit gothic. So I really enjoy her writing. It is said that the lead actress Lilith has made a pact with the tragic muse of Greek mythology to become the greatest actress ever to grace the stage. Suspicious of Lilith, the jealous wife of the theatre owner sends dresser Jenny to spy on her, and desperate for money to help her family, Jenny agrees. What Jenny finds is a woman as astonishing in her performance as she is provocative in nature. On stage, it's as though Lilith is possessed by the characters she plays, yet off stage she is as tragic as the muse who inspires her. And Jenny, sorry for her, befriends the troubled actress. But when strange events begin to take place around the theatre, Jenny wonders if the rumours are true, and fears that when the muse comes calling for payment, the cost will be too high. So I'm really looking forward to reading that. I actually already read the first chapter when it came, so I couldn't wait to get started on that one. And then the other one is The Mysterious Case of the Alperton Angels. I'd seen lots around this and lots of good reviews over on Goodreads, so I ordered this as well. So this one says, everyone knows the sad story of the Alperton Angels, the cult who brainwashed a teenage girl and convinced her that her newborn baby was the Antichrist. Believing that they had a divine mission to kill the infant, they were only stopped when the girl came to her senses and called the police. Nearly 2 decades later, true crime author Amanda Bailey is writing a book on the angels. The Alperton baby has turned 18 and can finally be interviewed. If Amanda can find them, it will be the true crime scoop of the year and will save her flagging career. It says Agatha Christie for the 21st century. So I don't think I've read any of Janice Hallett's work before. So I'll be interested to read that, and I love a good kind of mystery. So I'm not sure which one I'm going to start next, actually. I have started another book, so maybe I'll finish that. I'll finish that first and then pick one of these up. So that is everything for this week's podcast. So I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know down below what you are making, what you've enjoyed reading. And I will be back in a couple of weeks with some updates. And a new episode. So I will see you all again soon. Take care. Bye.